a new radiator. The old one was probably hit by a rock a while ago, and then when I go to wash it, it exposed the problem. Somehow it maybe was plugged by a rock or maybe some mud, and it didn't leak. But after I washed it, it starts leaking. And I think the radiator is 20 years old now, 20 some years old. It's probably not worth saving. Even if I patch it now, it might rust and leak again a year later also. So might as well get a new one. This is our new radiator, just loaded from the factory. JB Radiator Specialties. We'll go back and start installing today. The radiator is brand new, ordered through Source Engineering and manufactured by JB Radiator Specialty. The cost of it is $3,420 something. It's very expensive, but that's the only way to get it. And it's a specially made radiator. You can't buy it anywhere else. That's the only place to buy it. That's the price you have to pay. Okay, we just got this radiator in. So this is the most difficult part of this installation. This thing weighs about 100 pounds up. It's very heavy. So we slide it with it facing down on this pallet, and then slowly move it underneath the coach and slide it to this point, and then we lift it up to this upright position. And then for tonight, I'll just lean it on this side of the frame. And yeah, this is one of the most difficult part. The next step is to put the CAC in the front of this radiator, and then somehow use a jack from underneath to lift it up slowly until one of the it lines with this bolt up on top here, and this hole and that hole will align together, and then I'll use a bolt to secure it. And then same thing on the other side. Here's my charged air cooler, or CAC for short, and this thing has been leaking air. The cause of it is on this corner here. This corner here, there's a piece here had broke, and the stress, instead of exerting on this structural piece and this tank itself, it was on these tubes, and those tubes are obviously not designed for taking the weight of this thing, and it started to shear. I had the professional welder welded up this part. You can see these shiny parts that are new welds, and he also helped me weld up those little cracks. Now it's under this epoxy. And what he didn't do for me is fix the leak. Well, to be honest, that's not his job, and I was mainly hopeful to let him help me fix this structure. And he TIG welded these little cracks anyways, but it's still leaking, which is a lot better than before, but still a little bit away from what I expected. So what I did here is, on top of the weld, I put on some JB Weld epoxy, and that had held it up a lot better. So how do I test it? Well, I have some auxiliary air right here from my coach, and this is a 4-inch to 2-inch reducer, and this is a 2-inch plug for the sewer system. Actually, this is, and I drilled a hole. I put on a butt connector, not butt connector, but, and then attach an air nipple right here. On the other hand, and this is also a for the sewer system cap, 4-inch cap here from Home Depot, and then I just cut a little bit on the inside. I'll show you. I have finished the test, so I'll disassemble all these. This thing screws off just like this, and then it can be pulled out. This thing is stuck in there quite well. I had to cut a little bit on the inside to fit into this hole here, and then just use this screw to tighten it up, and it will make a very good seal. And then on the other side here, I put air in this, but remember it had to be low pressure, so I only put about 20 psi to this port. And then I use some soapy water spray on this. It will have bubbles. So before I had it fixed, this thing had no pressure at all. Whatever pressure air I put in, it just leaks right out, like there's nothing stopping it. Then I went through the welder. He fixed the structural part and tried to TIG welded these tubes. They are so thin that I know it's very difficult, so it's definitely out of his range. Then after I put all these epoxy, it start to hold up. Previously it doesn't hold any pressure at all. Now it will hold 20-30 psi for, I say, 5 to 10 seconds. It still leaks, but this thing doesn't have to be fully leak proof, so I'll call that good. Either way, I sent this CAC to a radiator shop, and they sentenced this thing to death because it was just leaking so bad on these places and they just can't fix it. They went it for a submerge into the water to test its leaks, and then they charged me $125 only to tell me they can't fix it. I'm really not very happy about that. I mean, you can't just charge me this and then tell me you can't fix it. The promise was they tested. If it's good, it's good. If it's not good, they can fix it for me for another $170. Oh, actually, I tried to use aluminum brazing on these tubes after they told me they can't fix it. I'm trying to use a torch to heat it up and then melt this brazing bar to connect the broken part. That's the first step. The second step is to then fix the leaks in between the tubes. That aluminum brazing is just so difficult. So the margin between melting it and reaching enough temperature is very small. I'm either not reaching the temperature, being too cold, and the brazing just doesn't stick to these, or I melted this part. So it's very difficult to control. I actually melted this too. Then I went to the welder, and the welder helped me patch this, and he fixed most part of it. Well, it's time to install. Okay, so this is the CAC, and this is the radiator. I have done an important part of stacking the CAC on top of the radiator. Next step is we flip it straight and then lift it up until the bolts touch. What we have here is the most difficult part of this entire install. We're trying to hook this up onto the frame there. So we just did it for one side using car jacks under here, and then some blocks underneath and another jack on there. So we lift it up on one side and then bolted to the frame, and now it's the next side. This thing is so heavy, it's very difficult even for two people. And now we're going to the other side. Now it's loosely on for now, and once the other side is on, I'll tighten this. So we just hooked on the other side as well. Now I just need to tighten this up until it secures. had the radiator and CAC secured on there, tightened, that giant bolt is very tough to tighten, thanks to the impact gun I had, and we managed to smash it on. And next thing is to put this oil cooler onto that assembly. Still, that need two person. Right here we had the assembly down. This is the radiator right here, and this is the CAC here, and there's the oil cooler underneath the CAC, and I need to secure the button. It's not yet screwed on. Okay, where we are now? We are underneath the radiator now. What I have done is connect these hoses first. This is the coolant hose. This is the charged air cooler hose. I connected these hoses first, and then I'll put the fan on top on this side here, because it's just a lot easier. Alright, it's just a lot easier to put them on before I put the fan on. It's ginormous. It will get in the way of everything. And again, on this side we have the coolant hose and the air hose, and same thing on the other side, coolant hose here, air hose right here. And one more thing, here I actually over tightened these clamps and it stripped these teeth. I'll put a picture here now. And for right now I put a zip tie here just to keep it watertight, and then I'll do some tests later. I have ordered a replacement hose clamp, and yeah, let's get it going. And then next thing to do is put this big fan on behind the radiator. There is the giant hydraulic fan there. We'll put it on, slide it underneath the coach, and then lift it up to be on the radiator, and we should be up and going very soon. We just hooked on this fan here. It's very difficult to maneuver in this tight area. But anyway, the first thing is to lift it up, and then we have to hook on this little foot here, and then we need to align the screw holes on top over there, but it doesn't go in that easily. I have the fan hooked up now, the bottom screws screwed in, and the top one I just can't get to some of them. It's so tight here. I just can't push the fan onto the radiator while trying to screw the bolts in. It's just so tight, and then it doesn't fit in very well. I think the tolerance may not be very well. But anyway, I have actually three of the screws on top screwed in, and then all the bottom ones are in. It should hold it very well. And these are the wax valve that's controlling the fan on and off. I have them hooked up. Here I have the hydraulic cooler hooked up. I have to hook one more hose to the other side. And then here is my transmission cooler. Let's see. I have two of them on here, and I still need to hook up the lines. These are the thermostats, and this is the T that goes to the second one. I'll show you when it's all done. But anyway, this is the current status. In the previous video, we installed a new radiator and we fixed our CAC and then also put together the entire radiator and CAC and fan assembly. In this video, we will install a aux pusher fan as well as made a bracket for the AC condenser. We also did some miscellaneous work for the cooling system. So now all the coolant have been drained. And I thought it might be a good time to change the thermostats as well. So here's the old one. Looks like this. I'd say it's in okay shape. It's not terrible, but it's time to change for a new one anyway. So I put some grease on this two O-rings and ready to drop in now. Well, guess what? This is actually a new thermostat. Look at these dates. It's 0621. I think that means June of 2021. And that's only a year ago. I am at November of 22. So it's only a little bit over a year old. It turns out it's unnecessary to change this, but well, it's out and I'm gonna change that anyway. It probably was changed last year when I had the cooling system flushed and they probably changed this. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't hurt, get a new one. Well, this is the first startup after the fix. I have filled the coolant with just the plain water. And then thermostats changed. All the stuff are ready and radiator hooked up. All the hoses are hooked up on this side as well as on this side, and it looks like there is no obvious leak as of now. Let's get it started and see how it does. There we go. Looking good. And still no obvious leak. I'll get it running for a while and see how it goes. So I also replaced this hydraulic oil. What you need to do is loosen this bolt and another bolt on the inside here. And then this whole cap can lift off. And then there's the wing nut. You lose that and there's 3 filters inside this and you can easily replace that. And once you are done, just put the clamp back on. I have filled the oil all the way up. Yeah, I'll check later. Right now it should be at this level, but since I drained the oil in the hydraulic fan, it might go down a little bit more, and I'll check again once I started the engine. And this is the oil being used as the hydraulic oil, the O'Reilly's Dextron 6. It's relatively cheap. So here, the original mounting for this AC cooler condenser, if you will, is to use the radiator clips through this hole here you can see, and several other holes like here and other places, and then going through the CAC on the back side. So the problem with that is, well, I just can't reach the back of the CAC because there is a radiator behind the CAC. So there is no way I can disassemble and reassemble it. In other words, unless I take off the entire assembly, there is no way I can remove just the condenser. Or I can remove the condenser, but I cannot put it back. What I need to do right now is to put a bracket both on the top of the CAC. There are several bolts, and then trying to make an elbow here, and then use a bolt through this hole. So it'll be like this, and then hang in using these brackets, one on here and one on the other side, and then another two on the bottom. It's relatively simple, but the alignment is the key. I need to find the right angle and the right length for it. So let's see. I have bent it a little bit, so it will be in this angle. Okay, drilled the first hole, made the first bracket. This will bolt on top, and then this one will be on the condenser. See how it fits right through? This is a thread, and there is a lip here. It just goes right through. Yeah, feels good. Let's see how it works when it's on. So I need to hook this up. I put a number 8 bolt through this hole and then somehow fit that in there. Okay, here I have mounted the first bracket. It is a little bit, I probably need to get a little bit closer to the CAC, like this way. Probably be better. Yeah, anyway, I will adjust other brackets so it's like fitting tightly onto the CAC. But anyway, for now it will be fine. And this thing you see here is for an external pusher fan. You will know what it is later. I'll put it on later. I'll explain everything after it's on there. So other side is bolted, and this side have to use a change of plan. As you can see, other side it's sticking out. I can use a bolt on the back side, and on this side the back side is a fins, so there's no way I put a bolt on. So I put a self-tapping screw, and gotta make sure it only goes to these fins, not to these tubes. As you can see right here, it's pretty far away from the tube. It's it's not gonna go through these tubes, otherwise you'll have a big problem. Okay, so we go through here first, and then just need 2 person. Okay, I have her lift it up for me, and this is aligned, so now gotta screw that in. Don't over tighten this. I think I might strip it a little bit, but it's okay. It's still holding it. But make sure just snug is fine. And then 2 top ones are down. The next thing to do is the bottom bracket should go like this, and somehow it will fold over here. You gotta figure out a way to do that. We have 3 of the legs on. Looks like they need to be adjusted a little bit. You can see it doesn't quite align here. Might need to, instead of put it together with the bracket, I should have it independent, like to here. And then this might be able to keep, and this probably put it in here. Now let's see. Now this is all hooked up. Brackets here, fan bracket, and condenser bracket, and the fan wire. Now obviously I need to clear the cable a little bit, but I'll zip tie this later. So for now, the fan is here, and then I will go and hook up the power, and you shall see it turning on. The fuse just blown. I used a 10 amp fuse. Looks like it might be a little bit small. Let's see if I have 15 or maybe a 20. Okay, I don't have 15, but 20 will do for now. I should change that to 15 later. 20 is definitely enough. If 20 is not enough, then somewhere had a short circuit. But we see that was turning earlier. Alright, let's put this on here. It's 20 amp. Alright. Go see. Okay, let's shoot the fan out and I will control in the back. There you go. Blowing very hard, lots of air. And this will be an always on once I turn the key on. Yeah, now this part of the job is done. So this part of the radiator is mostly done. All the lines are checked, brackets down, wires hooked up. Resting is to put the cover and the grill on. So there we go. Well, after more than a month now, this is finally put together. Let's see what we have here. There is a air guide right there, and another one on the other side. The one on the bottom, you probably can't see, but yeah, it was bolted right here. And then this grill installs with those 3 screws on each side onto this fiberglass cap, and it just clears the fan here. It was a perfect size. I measured it, and yeah, it was perfect. So yeah, we are very close to the end. I need to clean up the hoses in the back side as well. Previously, we have replaced our radiator and then installed an aux pusher fan. In this episode, we will fix some oil leaks, leaking crazy, flushed the entire cooling system, as well as installed 2 transmission coolers. Well, this is the first startup after the fix. I have filled the coolant with just the plain water. Thermostats changed, all the stuff are ready. No obvious leak. There we go. Looking good. I still no obvious leak. I'll get it running for a while and see how it goes. Okay, here's the status from yesterday. So after I started the engine, there has been 2 leaks. One is from this area here. The U-joint is leaking. I over-tightened the other side of the aluminum 12AN fitting and destroyed the thread. So just bought another one and overnighted it. It arrived now. I'll put that on. Other one is here. Again, the joint is leaking. This one is easy. I just tightened it a little bit more to fix the leak. And other fittings looks to be just fine. Once I replaced that joint, I'll test that again. And here's the other side of that joint. Here we go. This U-joint is the original, but this 90-degree elbow is a new one. And let's see, it should not leak this time. And everything seems to be fine here. Or was it? It turns out this joint is still slightly leaking here. Let's see if there's anything I can do. I just tightened it a little bit more. If it still doesn't work, I might have to replace this joint again. Okay, tighten all the transmission oil fitting. Have the coolant filled with just water. The hydraulic lines tightened, hydraulic oil filled up. We are ready to start this thing the second time. So first thing, I put the start into the back. I already put the key into the on position. Put it in the back. Here the click. This is the air leveling working. It's getting to the right height. So let's get it started. I'll tighten this cap here. There we go. A little bit of the blue smoke, less than yesterday, but it's fine. Because I have the engine oil heated already. The coolant is also heating now. And the block heater off. Now we just give it a little time as the engine gets to temperature. Some of that will open and will circulate well. It was up probably here and then it dropped through this window. It will probably drop even more. We just had a leak on another fitting inside on the transmission cooler. So I tried to switch the direction, see if it's better. I'll replace that. If it's just seeping a little bit, I can finish flushing the coolant. But if it's still leaking like raining, then we'll have to wait for tomorrow. Let's see, I am starting it again. 3, 2, 1. Wait, need to put in the start in the back. Okay. Leaking. It's leaking crazy. Gotta stop right now. So I got some leaks again on the transmission oil fittings. I bought some new, better quality ones. Let's see the difference. So this is a new one. You may not see the difference, but I can feel it. It's very sturdy. The metal is significantly thicker, and this place had transferring. It's curved here, so overall make it very strong. I can feel it's heavier. Let's compare with the one that is leaking in there once I take that off. So this one is the leaking one. If you look inside here, you can see about 3/4 of it has the paint scratched, but 1/4 of this has the paint on there, which means 3/4 of it has good seal, but 1/4 of this was not touching the other fitting going in there, which caused the leak here. I guess it's okay for the overall quality. It's relatively sturdy, but this is the main issue causing it to leak. So anyway, I'm putting in a better one. Okay, it's the third time we're trying to start the engine. The first time we got 2 oil leaks. The second time we still got 1 more transmission oil leak. And the third time I changed the fittings on them. Let's see if it leaks. Put the start into rear. Fans running as expected. We are turning it on. There's very little smoke this time, because I preheated the engine with oil cooler and block heater. And let's see you later. So finally, after many turns of back and forth, I got the oil winch problem solved. See, there's no oil now. I mean, obviously the engine is running on underside, but there's no oil here or there. Yeah, it's not that good. The fan pretty good. No leak so far. I will have the engine run for an hour or so. So we need to flush the coolant several times. This is the second time I'm flushing it. What we need to do is to open this petcock on the radiator, and then later on there's another one on the engine. Okay, second time flush. Filled with water, just drained, and then filled it again with coolant cleaning agent. I'll show you a picture, what about right there. And filled the rest with tap water again. So I'm gonna start the engine, let it run for 60 to 90 minutes according to the instructions. This is one of the last few steps. Let's see here, I have pre-mixed the coolant with distilled water. This is the original distilled water bottle from Walmart. Still got one can of the coolant. This is the coolant I'm using that's recommended by the Cummins ES Complete. You can look this up. Mix 50% with this coolant and 50% with the distilled water. From what I can tell is it probably uses close to 10 to 12 gallons. So I mixed 12 gallons of the 50-50 coolant. For the last round of the coolant flush, I added in about 9 gallons of distilled water and let it run for 20 minutes or so, and then I drained all the water to do a final flush. And then I'll add in the 50-50 coolant mix. So here we go. I have filled up the coolant. I totally used 9 gallons. We have passed this window here, probably right here. But when I start the vehicle, it will drop a little bit. So I'm guessing maybe I need to add a little bit more. But one last thing after I fill the coolant I need to do is to add some DCA additive. So that will take up some space as well. One of the few last things that I need to do is change this coolant filter. Well, I'm doing a complete system flush, so might as well change the coolant filter. The first thing you need to do is to turn off filter right here so that coolant won't drain from this filter head while you spin this off. So as you can see, I'm turning it clockwise until it reaches to the end. Obviously, I'm turning on the other side, which is a bit more difficult to show, but it's the same thing as this, just easier to reach. And then I'll use a belt wrench to spin this off. It goes on just like this, and I'll need 2 hands for this. Oh, I have tightened this way too much. It's too difficult to take off. But anyway, you can see the damage here using the belt wrench. I won't tighten it that much anymore. Anyway, it's off now. Still some coolant, but that's okay. I have a bucket underneath to catch all the coolant. And it's alright. But yeah, as you can see, once I turn off the valve, there's very little dripping from it. Well, the old one is WF 2074, which has 12 units of DCA. The new one, because I'm on a rush of finishing this job, we are moving out of a campsite, so I had to get whatever I can get on my hands with a short time. So this is what I can get in 2 days from Amazon at WF 2071 with 2 parts of DCA. So anyway, I will use that and add some additional DCA into the cooling system. Spin on, give it a few turns, clean that a little bit. Let's not tighten it that much, just hand tight. It's printed on here, the mileage right here. It'll be good showing this way. I think it's tight. Yeah, it's very tight. Any more tighter will be difficult to get off again. So yeah, that will do. I am replacing my transmission cooler today. I think might as well explain the transmission cooling system for you guys. Here is the Rayleigh transmission cooler, and this one is the old one that I'm taking off. You can see the wet oil here. That's not from when I removed the cooler. That's just where it's dripping. And if you see closely, focus, like there inside the coils. See, it's all wet inside the coils. So somewhere in the coils were leaking. I don't know where, doesn't matter. I only had this for about 3 months and it started leaking. And I have two actually. One of them leaks, this one. The other one was fine. Let's see the back. Well, the back looks okay. Can't see anything from here. Looks fine. But this facing somewhere in the coil was leaking and the oil just sprayed all over. The oil sprayed a little bit on my mud flat. I'll show you later. Okay, this is the old one. Yeah, the new one that I am putting it on, it's exactly the same. Honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed with the quality. I mean, only 3 months and it failed. But anyway, I'm trusting it again. This is a warranty replacement. Let's put it on. Before I put the let me explain my system. So the transmission is right here. It's Allison 3000. The original line is here. This one is the original line. I think it's coming in or maybe going back one way or the other. The other line is right here. The 90-degree bend. Why it's a 90 degree? Well, I'll show you. Here is my radiator. It's a brand new one. I just replaced it. But while I'm replacing the radiator, I removed the transmission cooling coil. So you can see the blue cap here. That's where the transmission oil used to go in and come out. The top one used to be in the 90 degree, so it can go down smoothly. The bottom one, I think, is the going back. Top one is going in. So I separated the transmission cooling system to these two Rayleigh fans. One's here and the other one resides right here. Haven't put on the new one yet. And then the line was connected, jointed from there and extended to here. And then these two were working parallel. How's it parallel? Well, we got the oil in from here. I have a thermostat. You can see the wires connected, and then it goes out from to this line, and then it connects to the input of this Rayleigh cooler. And then on the out, it goes from here. No, actually the other one haven't connected. It goes here and then connects to this one here, and then goes back to the oil return back to the transmission. But the reason why I'm doing this is because with the original setup, the transmission oil can only be as cool as the coolant is, because it's cooling using the coolant. Most of the time, it will actually be hotter than the coolant. The coolant, before I change the new radiator, it's not cooling very well. I'm getting like 200, 210, even 220 degrees sometimes while I'm climbing the hills. And during that time, the transmission will only be hotter, like 230. That's way too hot. So I separated the cooling of the transmission oil to here, and it had worked flawlessly before the leak, of course. It was cooling to 180 pretty much all the time. Only when I climb the hill, it will go to like 190, but that's it. Also, after replacing the radiator, the coolant cools a lot better. I used to go to, like I said, 220. Now it pretty much stays at 180. We got the input line from the transmission here. And what is this? Well, you might ask. This is the thermostat underneath, and I have a foam wrapped with aluminum tape. And underneath is the thermostat's trigger in the on and off of these two big fans here. And each of them is 800 CFM, 12 AM fittings right here. And why we need this foam and aluminum tape here? I heard some other YouTubers saying that these thermostats may trip late because, well, you got dissipation of heat over here in this metal fittings and all that. So we want to retain that heat so it will trip at the correct temperature. And this is what I did. In this video, I will show you in details how I replaced our block heater in our main engine. Somehow my block heater is not working. It's tripping my GFCI breaker every time I turn it on. So I did some tests on my multimeter. Looks like I have an open circuit there. The ohms I'm getting is in the kilo ohms and sometimes in the mega ohms. So there's definitely something wrong. I did everything I can. I checked the cord, I cleaned up the connections. Yeah, did several connects and disconnects and did nothing. So it's to the point that I have to replace it. So I am replacing it with zero start part number that I'll show on the screen. First thing I need to do is remove this old one, and for that I have to remove this alternator first, and that was not that easy. Anyway, I'll show you when I put it back on. For now, what I need to do is first unplug it, and that's the easy part. Okay, turn it all the way, and then unplug it here and pull it out from here. I will also not reuse this cord because I have a new one, and why would I want to use the old one? There, this thing is pretty tight. I tried to loosen it once already, so I know how tight that is. The right size for it. Looks like the right size. Okay, yeah, I loosened it, so it's not that difficult now. By the way, this is 3/4 inch MPT, which is the same as a household garden outlet. Okay, here comes the difficult part. I have the newly added coolant in there, so I want to lose as little as possible. So I want to pull that plug out and quickly put this 3/4 MPT plug in there, and let's see how fast I can do it. Okay, well, I lost maybe half a gallon of coolant there. I think that's alright. Let's check my old block heater. Where did I drop it? Okay, it's here. Okay, let's compare it with the new one. Well, let's do a comparison. It looks alright. I mean, this one doesn't look that bad really, but anyway, it seems like it's open circuit. But let's see the comparison first. It's a little bit longer, this one, maybe half inch longer. I'm a little worried it might stick into something, but let's see. Yeah, otherwise it looks exactly the same. Let's check the ohm. It's some kilo ohms, 20 kilo ohm. Yeah, that's definitely not right. I want to see 10 ohm, maybe 20 ohm in that range, and this is not right. This old element, it doesn't seem there's anything wrong with it. The element is fine. It's just a big resistor. There's no electronic part to it, so I don't see why it doesn't work. It's in the kilo ohm range, so probably something inside here burnt out or whatnot. Also, the only cause I can think of is maybe I drained the coolant and still have this heater on, so basically it's heating the air for a few minutes and somehow that burnt it out. So let me put this one in. Okay, it comes again. I have to put this one in. Let's see how fast I can do again. I really don't want to lose too much coolant. The coolant costs quite a bit, $20-something per 1 gallon concentrated. So every gallon I lose is quite some money. Alright, got this thing right here ready, and unplugged all the way. Okay, 3, 2, 1, stick that in. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it didn't lose too much this time, even less than before. And by the way, I do have a bucket underneath to catch any drippings. I want all over the ground here. Okay. Let's see if when I tighten it, it will hit anything. I really hope not. Oh, by the way, before I remove alternator, I did have to disconnect the chassis battery, so any of these wires in the back won't short anything. That's the least thing I want to see.
is having a short circuit, a big spark somewhere. It looks like it's going in there just fine. It's a little bit difficult to have it screwed. Like everything on this RV, it's not easy to work on. No wonder they charge more at the truck place to work on RVs. I mean, the technicians just do not like to work on RVs. Honestly, me either. I'd rather work on a truck with open end hood. Everything is very accessible. In this thing, as you can see, it's not easy, even on a block here. And also you can see here, before I put in into this hole here, I did wrap the block heater using some PTFE tapes. Coolant is lower than this window now. I'll pop it back in. Good thing I have some spare. It'll be easier using this channel lock to tighten it. No, it wasn't. I actually cannot get it in there. See, it keep hitting on the block here, making it very difficult to tight. See if I can do it on top. It's easier. No, I cannot reach it in here. Alright. Just have to keep going. Okay, I have the new cord right here. That one's in there. Looks like no leaks. Yeah, I'm gonna remove this old cord, unclip some of the zip ties, and one here that is actually from myself, but I'll put the new one on there. This one also from myself. Okay, this one. Should be off now. One more here. Lots of dust. One more to unclip. But I want to be careful. Don't break the water lines. There we go. Should be off now. Yeah, one more in the back. No, you can't see because even myself, I cannot see anything. I have to use my finger to feel it. And now it should be really, yeah, to remove it now. Going this way out. Oh, it's a tremendous amount of dust. Okay. And I do want to reuse this protective cover and the loom. I'm gonna remove this one as well. My gloves on. I'm just gonna unclip right here because it looks like this wire is still good. I'm gonna reuse this wire, just not that head. That's 20 years of dust. Okay, throwing these away, reusing this. I'll find another purpose for this wire. Let's first clean it a little bit. Let's not put too much dust in here. Let me put it from this end instead. Okay, I'll make a final clean before I put it in case I did drop in any debris. Using some brake cleaner. Same thing on there. Yeah, that one's difficult to reach, but let me see. Oh shoot. Get in my eyes. Got a drop in my eyes. I have to clean my eyes because I had a drop. Had a tiny drop of the brake cleaner in my eyes. Just to play safe, rinse this with some water. We are back in business. It is already working. And look at this current draw. I have 1400 watts. Okay, I have the wires roughly zip tied. And this is a new wire, and that is going on there. I'm just gonna tighten this one a little bit more. And this alternator is ready to put back in. Okay, no need to be crazy tight. This would work. Let's put the alternator back in. So I said it's very difficult to take it out, but when I look in here, there is a sleeve inside this hole here. So I used the hammer a few times on there, so it goes back to the other side a little bit, and this time it's really easy to put on. It just goes on like that, and it's too easy. Even I need to hook it back on, otherwise it won't stay. Yeah, it's not light to this right. This there we go on one side, and a little bit more. Okay, yeah, it's back on. It's gonna tighten this a little bit. So this top bolt is on, now is the bottom bolt. Time for bottom bolt. Let's see, yeah, looks like is it a little bit off now? What is going on? Yeah, I should go upward a little bit. It wasn't too difficult. Do the hammer a little bit more. Maybe even a little bit more. Okay, now this time it should work. I need to use a wrench. Here's the moment of truth. So I have heated the engine for 30-40 minutes now. Looking at the heater plug there, looks like there is no leak. And I topped off the coolant right here. We are ready to fire this thing. And again, doing it in the back. Put it start from to the back. Nothing's happening. What is going on? Oh yeah, just got to turn the start battery on. Okay, yeah, there we go. Fans are kicked on, and let's fire it. 3, 2, 1. Everything looks fine. is completed. No leaks, engines running, no problem, electricals alright, heating up, everything works. I'd call this project good.
This concludes our 4-series engine cooling system upgrade and fixes. And I hope this will be helpful to someone out there. And I'll see you in the next video.